Hi, I'm Kristina, vocalist, front person, and harmonica player in Zepparella, and you are watching the Zepparella Learning Channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. In this video, I'm going to be talking about Immigrant Song, one of the most signature Zeppelin songs that there is, starting with that opening primal scream that everybody knows so well. I'm going to be talking about what that's like to take on as a vocalist. And I'm going to talk a little bit about what it's like to stand in plant shoes, so to speak. I'll be breaking down some of the signature sections of the song musically and showing you how I approach them. I'll be talking about the lyrics and the tone that you want to take in terms of your emotion when you're singing this song. And I'll talk about performing it live. So this gives me the opportunity, first of all, to talk about Robert Plant and what it's been like to really dissect his vocals in all of these songs. I always think of Plant as a fourth instrument, and to me, he sings that way. I have, and I talk about this in my other videos, I have backgrounds in jazz and using the voice as an instrument, and Plant, to me, so much is in those shoes. The way how rhythmic he is as a singer, how dynamic he is. He's percussive, he listens, he's got this ginormous range that can go from the primal scream down to something as quiet as "Babe, I'm gonna leave you," and how musical he is in his melodic choices. He's almost like a horn inside this band, and I connect with that so much because I love to sing that. That part of what Plant does really speaks to the soul of me. He's also an extremely rangy singer. Some of the notes he hits are high for women. And so that's also very challenging, but very cool. And a wonderful opportunity as a vocalist to kind of learn how to get all those places in your voice. Lastly, Robert Plant's stage presence is fantastic. So commanding, his posture, his ability to feel honest. You never feel like he's phoning it in. And you know when that happens. He's committed, and he's absolutely committed to everything he's saying, telling the story that he's telling, and he's 100% there. So in this song gives us the opportunity to look at a bunch of those different parts of these wonderful parts of Robert Plant. And of course, the first one is that signature primal scream that opens the song vocally. This really comes off like a big horn line to me. It's different than singing. It's a scream, it's a call, it's a wail. And this song is about Vikings and forging into new lands. And he takes his voice, and it's so aggressive, and it's so forward, and so fearlessly piercing into that. So I like to think about that along with all the technical stuff that you have to think about as a singer, but I really like to think about that in terms of the attitude of when I sing that opening lick. So when breaking down this song musically, technically, I mentioned before you tap it out on the piano to make sure your notes are right, and this is C sharp, jump the octave to C sharp, C, C sharp. So jumping that octave is pretty challenging. And you want to think of the notes as close together. Don't think of them as far away. Think of them all as right here and push them to the end of the room. Push them to the back of the room. And lots of support and lots of forward. It's a real snarly sound, so you kind of want to, in other songs you wouldn't want to make it that snarly, but this is this is this call, this aggressive call, so you want to make it a little, I don't want to, a little edgy. Let's just say edgy. And how you end that last you can take a little liberty with that, I think. He ends it right on the beat of 1 of the measure on the record, but I think you can add a little snarl, extra snarl there if you want, and hold it a little longer. At least I do that sometimes if I'm feeling it that night. Really, really take a bite out of it at the end to give it a little bit more emotion. At the beginning of the verse is one of those lovely parts I talk about how percussive he is. And I don't generally like this image, but it works so well here. It's almost like a machine gun. It's really, really rhythmic and percussive. Tapping it out, E, G sharp, E, 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 G sharp, E, 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 G. This is basically back and forth between that, but it's good to just know where it is. But it's more speaking voice this time with an aggressive energy behind it. We come from the land of the ice and snow, from the midnight sun where the hot springs blow. He kind of lets that fall off. But really the most important thing, and you can lean one direction or the other depending on how you feel, but mostly really get that aggressive, tight, staccato, percussive thing happening, or it'll lose its power there. Then this third part I'm going to talk about is the latter part of the verse where, again, we talk about how rangy he is. He goes from those really high notes to this low, beautiful hammer of the gods, which is so perfect because it's almost contemplative at that point. Hammer of the gods. And you can round the tone a little bit. And I feel it really busy in the chest for female ranges. And that's C sharp, B, A, C sharp. Drive the gods, drive our ships to new land. Hammer of the gods is almost spoken with a little bit of breath. Hammer of the gods, drive our ships to new lands. And then when it goes down, fight the hall, singing and crying, Valhalla, I am coming, coming. Lots of breath around it. And this is why this is such a great tool for taking on that range and for finding those places in your voice where you can do that. And then toward the end of the verse, we're back in the higher part of his range again, in the powerful forward, pushing out cry. Because it's, I like to, I'll talk about this in a little bit, but it's on the edge of the ship, just here we go, come on, we're doing this. And it's in the higher part. Always see it crashing on. That's A. A, B, A, B, B, C sharp, B, C, 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 E, D, C. So I did that in my head voice, E, D, C. So E's, for female voices, E's, F's, and G's, that's getting up there. And plant's up there a lot. So to go from this really low part of Hammer of the Gods all the way up to the E, that's kind of what makes this challenging, is your voice has to be ready in all these different places. On we sweep with threshing our only goal will be the western shore. And it's really focused, it's thin, it's smaller. The higher you get, it actually gets smaller. You want to focus it more. Western shore, shore. And I go, ah, I open it up so it's not shore, because you couldn't get it to sound right. The vowels, the way you use vowels and consonants will also be very important. You'll feel it naturally. Western shore! And then it's short, percussive, aggressive, and just the call to let's go. Now we talk about making the song your own. You're singing someone else's lyrics, so how do you make this your own? So I really go to a lot of different resources to find what this song might mean. Zeppelin, the lyrics in Zeppelin tend to be so metaphorical and poetic that sometimes the literal meaning is hard to get to. This one really feels like forging into new lands with everything you've got, almost scared crapless, but you're doing it anyway because you have to. There's nowhere else to go. So the urgency, to me, is in the way the song was written, the way Page and Bonham and everybody's playing it, and then the way Plant is singing it. So you want to have that urgency, but then get into the lyrics and find where they live for you when you felt that kind of urgency. And so that first wail obviously is a primal scream. It's a primal, it's almost let go, we have to. And then it's that determination. We come to the land of the ice and snow, and you're really determined to get there, and this is why. And then that last on we sweep with threshing on seems to be there's no turning back. Our only goal will be the Western Shore. I mean, that's it. There's no turning back. So if you can really make sure that you've gone through everything, what the lyrics mean, and that you found the place in you where you can connect with that and really deliver it with authenticity and the essence of who you are. So finally, performing live. You're going to take into the account everything that makes this authentic to you and that you're connecting this story to everybody. And this song requires posture, confidence, command on stage. You can't be wimpy with this one, and your posture will help you a lot. None of this stuff. Make sure you're up straight, maybe a wide stance. This is a very I'm confident song. Now, when you've done your part with all your technique and everything you know, then this is an opportunity to talk about Zeppelin's tendency to have a lot of instrumental moments. So what does a singer do during those moments? Once again, I think Plant is a fourth instrument in this band, and even physically. So when he's not singing, the music is all up inside him. And you can see that by what he does. His body movements are so with whatever the drum is doing, or he's watching the guitar, or the music is inside of him the whole time. I mean, why do we dance? We dance because the music forces us to move our body. That's, as a singer, the music, you shouldn't just forfeit it because it's not your part anymore. So da 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 do 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 do. No, you're an instrument in the band. So feel it. Your whole body is your instrument. So think about that when performing live with anything. I think it helps the band look like a unit, and it helps you stay inside the music, which is where you should be. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.